Yo, hello, it's Unicorn Hole, but enough about me. Welcome to the first episode of Down the Unicorn Hole, the show where I'll be chatting with people who are at least vaguely related to my channel and who are awesome. Somehow, I managed to get Nate Blasdell, the guitarist of I Set My Friends on Fire, for the first episode. Did I say your name right?
You did. You got it close enough. It's Blasdell, but that's the closest that I've heard in a while. So
all right. Well, I listened to a different podcast today, and you told the guy that was right. So you're more comfortable with me. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to.
Yeah. We're close enough friends that I can call you out, right?
All right, love it. All right, so people who are super not caught up might think of I Set My Friends on Fire as Matt and Nabil. So can you kind of get into how the band transitioned from that form, the MySpace era, to the current form, and how you got involved?
Yeah, for sure. So Matt went off and did his own thing after Nabil left. I think there's a lot of confusion under the fact that like people think that there was a bunch of bad blood there, and there wasn't. I think the best I guess most relatable thing that Matt said to the situation is, I'm not sure if you've ever seen the movie Superbad, but you know the ending where they kind of go off their separate ways, but like they still love each other and stuff like that. Like they just realize like it's not like not everything lasts forever. So you know, Matt and Nabil stayed relatively good friends for a bit, but Matt continued the band and went off and did his own thing. And he used touring musicians for a while, where he would just rotate through people. And it was about 2014 when I was in another band called the Bunny the Bear, and we just connected and hit it off well. And I was about to leave the Bunny, and so were a lot of the other members of my band. So you know, Matt was like, I want to bring this back as a full lineup and kind of project this as a band with still being a solo project. But the way that he related it, like in pop music, there's a band called Jack's Mannequin that, you know, Jack's Mannequin was a band, but really it was Andrew McMahon at the same time. So, you know, that's kind of how iSet was, where we were a band, but it was really Matt's brainchild and we were kind of just brought into it. But, you know, that transition was definitely interesting to see. You know, there's a lot of people that followed the band up close, but there's also a lot of people that, you know, were fans of the band that would come out and see us, but didn't understand that it was two members or didn't understand that things were different. So, you know, it was definitely an interesting situation, but the transition's been awesome. Like, I feel like it was definitely not immediate. I definitely think that fans were skeptical for a little bit. I'm still sure that some of them are, but you know, the thing is like ultimately, like I never tried to replace Nabil. Like Nabil was unreplaceable. I actually talk to Nabil every now and then. It's been a year or so, but you know, it was never like I never wanted to fill shoes or whatever. Like, you know, I always kind of want to go off and do my own thing and bring my own side to Ism Foff. But you know, really respect what Nabil did for the band, especially at the age of like his songwriting was just incredible. So you know, that's not something that we tried to copy or anything. We just tried to essentially start kind of a new era of the band without abandoning all the old roots. But yeah, I mean, like I said, for a while it was a little bit weird, but you know, I feel like now, actually more so in the last year, I think that I've felt more, I guess, not in a shadow than ever. So that's definitely a cool feeling to have with the band for sure.
Yeah, I think the current lineup has fantastic chemistry live. I don't know, it's hard to imagine that a different lineup than the way you guys are now.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, as far as that goes, like we've been playing together for a long time now. We've had the same lineup minus guitarists. Like guitarists, we flip flopped for a while, but you know, Connor, Matt, Chris, and I, we've been playing together since 2016. So 6 years. It's crazy. It's gonna be 6 years. Actually, it's gonna be 6 years on the 25th was Connor's first show. So you know, when things go for that long, it's like there's things that experience just just generates that you can't force, I guess. So
Yeah.
Being together for that long now, it's cool. It's definitely a cool thing, cool feature for sure.
Okay. I Set My Friends on Fire was formed in 2007, and the Aiden song came out in 2004. So are you guys like an Aiden tribute band or?
No, so Matt and I argue about this. I didn't know Matt at the time. Obviously, I didn't meet Matt. I met Matt in 2009, actually, as a fan. But they swear that they didn't come up with it from the name, and I believe them. I believe that Matt didn't say, "Hey, this is an Aiden song."
Yeah.
He named the band that, but I have a feeling that it was heard somewhere or somewhere along the line,
subconsciously.
Yeah, I mean, definitely nowadays we definitely want to be separated from Aiden as much as possible.
Yep. Maybe you could name your next album Aiden and just steamroll them off of Spotify and all the socials.
Yeah, that would be hey man, that's actually a pretty good idea. But yeah, they swear that they didn't come from that, but I think that through the roots it might have gotten lost in translation. But
yeah, is there any deeper meaning to the name, or it's just something silly?
So it developed into obviously it developed as kind of a reference for weed. But Matt nor Nabil actually smoked weed at the time. I guess that it's supposed to be something that's interpreted on your own, I guess.
Okay.
The PG version, that I always tell people is it's to inspire your friends, set them on. But I know that's not the real meaning behind it, but
we'll go with that.
Yeah, that's the PG version, right?
Yeah. So speaking of Nabil, do you have any idea what happened to the penguin?
I don't. I honestly don't. I haven't thought about that in a long time. I should ask him. I wonder if he even still has my number. I haven't texted him in a year, or maybe I should shoot him a text out of the blue and just say what happened to the penguin and see if he picks it up.
I feel like he would. Well, I'll buy it. Just throwing that out there. Does Smosh have anything to do with you guys anymore, or is that a thing of the past?
No, I mean, they definitely did a lot to help launch the band, which obviously all respected. But I feel like there was this misinterpretation that Smosh was best friends with Matt and Nabil, and it was all put together by Epitaph, and it was right place, right time, and it was awesome. But Smosh was much more like a business than a partnership, and I think that came out in later years. But it was really all business. So they came out to the show when they played in Sacramento after Sex Ed was released. But past that, we see Anthony post or tweet about Sex Ed every now and then, but we really don't have any relation to them. But it is cool to see how successful they turned out and how big of an entity it was. And I think that's awesome to see how small they were when they did stuff with Ismflop, which still they were gigantic, but gigantic to the music scene, not gigantic to the corporate world. And they did it, man. They did it for real. So that's awesome to see.
Oh yeah. So what is your favorite I Set My Friends on Fire song?
So this is going to sound crazy. Matt did an EP with Lotus. And You Want Me Dead is probably my favorite song. It's recorded, it sounds like it was recorded by a potato, but they went and recorded that for real. Both songs that they did on that sound great. I guess old school wise, I think that the most meaningful song obviously is Things That Rhyme with Orange. And I actually didn't like that. I'm not going to say I didn't like that song, but when I was an Ismflop fan, back in middle school, that wasn't a song that super stuck out to me on the album or whatever. But, I think that something that's really cool about that song is it has an actual meaning, there's actually, it's one of the most personal songs on the album. It's about Matt's time in high school. And I think it's something that a lot of people can relate with, but, coming from the songwriting background, it was always really hard to write to make your most popular song your most meaningful song at the same time. But
Yeah.
it's really cool that we were able to do that. Like that means a lot to Matt. And honestly, like, it's really cool to be a part of it now, to see how much it meant to kids' lives and how much they were able to relate with it, especially in that time. Cause like, if you look at that time of music, like there was a lot of meaningless shit out there. Like you look at like Asking Alexandria, like,
Oh yeah.
After the Crown, that was the whole like you're a stupid horror phase. So,
it's crazy to think how many girls and women were in the scene back then. Like, cause
dude, I can't believe it, man. Like honestly, like I look back at it and I'm so happy that like, there wasn't like a with Ismfoff, like, there was definitely content and stuff that would not be accepted today. And like, the world has changed. There's shit that we've said in the past and shit that we've said in albums that we wouldn't stand by today. But, something that, like, this sounds kind of bad, but, something that to us, like, we were a really, really young band. Still, like, I think people are still blown away that we're as young as we are. Especially like the second wave. But, a lot of that stuff was a lot of the first album was written when they were 17. It's like your view of the world changes a lot between 17 and 23 or whatever. But, seeing the age of some of these other bands that thought it was cool to say the shit they were saying and whatnot, but it was just a different time. But, it is definitely, I definitely like seeing the paradigm shift with that and not to try to get too woke here, but, it is definitely insane that the stuff that like some of these bands had kids yelling back then, like, I mean, I think with us, like some of our gnarly shit, like you could tell was obviously a joke.
Right.
But, like people really thought that shit was cool. And I mean, I don't know, it kind of blows my mind, but
yeah, definitely glad that has subsided over the years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you may have just answered this at the beginning of the last question, but what do you think is the most underrated Ismfoff song?
Most underrated Ismfoff song. So, man, this is going to sound really, really biased. I hate to say this. So, man, fuck. I feel like, but I feel like Don't Take Me for Pomegranate never really got the eyes that it should have. We wrote that song at a time that there was a lot of stuff going on with the band. Like there's so much stuff that's like never been talked about that happened within the band, not within the band, but like we dealt with per se. Like, it's not like we just didn't care about the album that never came out. Like there's a gigantic story behind it. It's way more political, but, with Don't Take Me for Pomegranate is, we were dealing with so much and it was at such a dead time too that we put it out. Like, the people that found it, but I feel like a lot of people had kind of given up on the band at that moment, because they're like, this album's never coming. They signed to a label. Now they're dealing with all this and whatnot. So the people that loved it. Having Lotus on it definitely helped, but, I can only imagine if we dropped that song right now. I think that it would have been a completely different story, but we were also broke at the time. So we had no marketing budget, nothing behind it. But, like I said, I feel like we did a really good job of kind of opening up the doors for a new era of Ismfoff that, is going to be continued here one of these days. But, I feel like Pomegranate was what people were waiting for. People were waiting for, something new to digest that was full band, that wasn't just like the trap stuff or whatever. But, we recorded it with Rob from Hidden in Plainview, who's like an emo pioneer. Like he recorded some of those gigantic bands back in the day, like Story of the Year and Under Oath and Hit the Lights. So,
okay.
I think that's probably the most underrated, just because like it didn't get eyes at the right time. Like the other thing is, we actually technically were not out of our contract with Warner when we released it. So we like, it sounds so dumb now thinking back, but like we kind of like released it low key. Like I think if it had blown up, it would have been a problem because of all that we were dealing with Warner, but because it kind of stalled out, they're like, fuck it, we're not going to chase this. Like we don't care about this. So I definitely wish that it happened at a different time, but it is what it is.
Yeah. You guys are playing that live now, aren't you?
Yeah, we are playing it live. It's a little bit difficult because we actually, so that the guitar parts are in 4 separate tunings throughout the song. So
that's wild.
But yeah, we play it live. We play it live from time to time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope you play it next time I see you, because I think it's a sick song. So
that means a lot, man.
Yeah. In Ravenous Rhinos, after listening to that album for like 15 years, I heard a whistling part in the first verse. Well, what's up with that?
Well, dude, that's funny. I didn't like I said, I was a fan before I joined the band. I didn't realize that until I got the backtracks. Like, where I guess it's always been there.
Mandela.
Yeah, man, that like Berenstein Bears type stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm glad that you got that reference. But there's another, like, it's not as prominent, but there's a whistle before the last bridge in Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
That it's like very minor, but like it's actually crazy how big of a part it plays in the song. Like
weird.
when we posted the live version that we did in the studio, a ton of the comments were like, yeah, they did the whistle part, and I was like, what whistle part? Like it never registered with me. So
Astral Rejection or OG?
Man, you're asking some good questions though. So I'm going to go with Astral Rejection.
Okay.
I think that, so this sounds crazy. I've said this in another interview too, but this is going to sound insane, but that album was recorded at a time that like a lot of the bands were switching to digital stuff and switching to like Axe FXs and Kempers and things like that. But the guitar tone on that album, if you listen to it with like basic headphones or whatnot, like it doesn't really do it justice. Like that's kind of what I tell everybody is like the mix on it, like you need a relatively like good speaker system to listen to it to kind of make out what's going on. But like once you like make out the root notes and stuff, like there's some good stuff and there's definitely all over the place. But like I said, I think that OG is more consistent, but the strong parts of Astral hit more than OG for sure.
Okay, I can respect that. I feel like it's a hot take. So like the original, well, I can't say the original, the one that released first, better nowadays. But yeah, to me, I just look at them as very different.
Oh, dude, completely different. Like when Matt showed us OG, like, because it stayed on his computer for years. Like I wasn't until like 2 years in the band that like he played it one day. He actually thought that he lost it, and one day like he was searching for something, and he was like, "Oh, dude, I found it! Like this is crazy." But Cantaloupe, it's like I couldn't even tell that was his vocals. Like it was definitely a very, very different time. But like I said, I think that there's a lot of good parts in that album. And I think that overall it's more consistent, but I think that the actual Astral Rejection, just the high parts were stronger for sure.
Okay. So moving into some sillier stuff. Martin Shkreli tried to join the band. That's for real?
That is for real. That is like not edited. Like we've edited a lot of photos on our Facebook and Instagram.
Don't tell me the Ricky Martin thing's fake. My heart can't take it.
The Ricky Martin thing's fake.
No.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But that was like, we've always kind of just been like a meme band that hasn't really, I don't want to even say a meme band because like, like a lot of meme bands don't have like a meme bands. That's actually a tongue twister, but like we have a deeper side to us. That's something that like I also really liked about the band. Like, like I look at like two of the most popular songs. You have Sex Ed and then you have Things That Rhyme with Orange. Like there's a song that's completely not serious and there's a song that is super deep. And like those two things together, like I feel like is how we have walked our entire line of being a band. That's like the one thing that stayed pretty consistent within the brand. Like even if you look at like the When We Were Young stuff, you know, like it was a joke. Like it was a joke, but then like, you know, there was a bigger meaning to it. Like when we actually came out and said what it was all about, people were like, damn, like this was punk rock as fuck. Like,
yeah,
like this is deep. Or even like the NASCAR sponsorship thing that we just did. Like, you know, it was a complete joke. Like, hey, we're sponsoring NASCAR. But at the end of the day, it was like, yo, we were able to let our merch guy live one of his all-time favorite, like all-time childhood dreams. Like, you know, like, so like I said, so I guess when it comes to Martin Shkreli, like we reached out as a joke. This was in the middle of like his Twitter meltdown. Like
yeah,
it was on the news, everything. So, he said, I was looking for a band in New York City and somebody tagged us. So I was like, yo, come through. He's like, hit my DMs. I didn't expect him to respond. So we sent him DMs, sent him the music, and he's like, dude, I love your band. Like, I love you guys. Like, I'm going to rent out this practice space for you guys to try out, for me to try out and whatever. So like, we actually talked relatively like consistently. Like, it's funny that like it started as a joke, but like, talking to him, part of me is like, fuck, man, like I'm actually like starting to like this guy.
Oh no.
Like there's and like I will say like Martin's issue is like Martin is not nearly as bad as a person as everybody thinks. Like that whole thing, like not to get political, but like the whole thing was done with the right intentions. It was to collapse the insurance agency or the insurance industry, but it was executed terribly. Like people didn't know that you could get it for free. Like if you didn't have insurance, it was actually 100% free if you didn't have insurance, but like nobody knew that. And not only that, the sector of the company that was supposed to take care of that was like one guy, and like they were getting thousands and thousands of emails a day when it's like, you know, it was just executed terribly. And when you're in that big of a position and like you're literally talking about something that saves people's lives,
right,
or that people need to survive, like you can't troll the world when you're in that much power. Like I said, I am all about like what he did to try to collapse the insurance industry, but like I said, I mean, just executed terribly and could never take himself seriously ever. Like, and it's just like I said, man, I mean, I don't respect the guy, but like, I enjoyed talking to him. I won't lie. Like I found it interesting. And there's definitely times that I'm like, damn dude, like I really don't want to like this guy, but I'm starting to, but ultimately like the truth prevailed. And, the week before we were supposed to go meet up with him in New York, he was arrested for putting a hit out on Hillary Clinton's hair. I wish that we had like taken it more to social media, because a lot of it was actually like low key. Like I don't think I posted the screenshot on our Facebook for like 4 or 5 years. Like people thought it was a joke, but it was actually like one of the things that was actually real on there. But you know, I wish that
it's not too late. He's back out.
He is back out, and I've actually reached out and tried to connect with him. I texted his old number as a joke about Brad's NASCAR sponsorship. I was like, yo, dude, you got the same number? Didn't respond, but it was definitely started as a joke, kind of became serious for a second. Like he was never going to join the band. Like we were never going to let him join the band, but like, would we have maybe let him play a song in New York City? Like, yeah, probably. But like I said, I mean, it is in perfectism fashion. It's something that like is so hard to believe is true, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, Marvel thinks they have the most ambitious crossover, but Ismfoff has Martin Shkreli and NASCAR now. So,
yeah, I guess so.
And I'm going to choose to believe Ricky Martin, even if the source says it's not real. I need that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that couldn't get the read on that one, but
I also, when I saw you guys live, Matt swore that Seth Rogen was there. which worked because many people were wearing masks, and so people freaked out and started looking for him, which was I thought was pretty
So you know what
clever.
is crazy is like there was a lot of relevant people in the room, I guess, in Charlotte, because that's our hometown. That's also like NASCAR city, like NASCAR center for NASCAR, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of drivers in the crowd. Like some pretty high-end drivers were there, and some pretty high-end sponsors. But Seth Rogen was not there. But we can wish.
Seth Rogen wasn't crowd killing. All right.
No, I guess not.
So it's come up a couple of times. How did you get involved with NASCAR?
Landon Castle was a fan of our band, and he had my dad and I out to a race, and my dad wound up sponsoring him. We just became really good friends, and when we realized that there was a lot of similarities between music and NASCAR, and it just kind of fit hand in hand. And when it was time to do something else, it was like, hey, this is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool industry, and I feel like it's something that I could be good at, and gave it a shot, and wound up finding a lot of success, and just all the rest is history.
So the Brad Perez thing that just happened, that happened in a matter of less than a week. Is that right?
Yeah. So Brad was a tough situation because like, from the NASCAR side, because like we're best friends, like he's my best friend. He's done so much for us, but it's really hard to mix like business and friendship. So I don't technically represent him. Like he's not under our agency or anything, but and that's always just kind of been to keep business and everything separate. But it came down to a point where it's like, he was pretty much, he needed a sponsor. He wasn't going to race. And it's like, look, like he came to me and was like, can I get some help with the sponsorship for Sonoma? Expecting me to go out and find a sponsor, which like, that's totally fine. But like I said, like, just because of the agency and everything and having other clients, it's like, I can't really do that, but like, we're not going to let you not race, like we're going to come out the way to try to do it. And so at first when I went to the team owner, like I really keep my music life like pretty separate from racing. So the team owner, I guess, didn't really know that like Ismfoff was like an actual like functioning unit, or like, like had a fan base. So
yeah,
we're like, when we were like, yo, I think that we can move enough t-shirts to do this. Like he kind of like laughed, and I was like, no, dude, like I really think that we can move enough t-shirts to do this. And he's like, well, you got nothing else on the car. As long as you're on the hook for the wrap, then let's give it a shot. And we didn't know how it was going to go, but like a day in, we hit our goal. And I mean, I don't even know where the shirt sales are now, but like I said, it started off as a joke, but it wound up being a really, really good and cool story, under the fact that, not only that, I think that was really cool with the fan base was they got to be a part of it. Like, to be honest with you, like we didn't pay $1 of our own money for that rap, like,
that's
or
awesome.
for any of that. Like that was truly funded by the fans, and it wasn't like a Kickstarter thing or whatever, but so like, you can almost say like if you bought a t-shirt, you sponsored a race car, So like,
yeah.
I think that was really cool to see that people were so invested, and so like, it was just a feel good story. Like, I mean, there was a lot of people on our posts that were like, I don't really like your band or don't really like the music, but like you guys are like, we got to support this. Like, this is just too good. So, and like, I would definitely rather be remembered for like who we are as people than who we are for our music. So, that's something that I feel like we've like, we've done some dumb shit, but I feel like we've always really, really tried to be the best people that we can. And, I think that that's something with this lineup, with why this lineup worked out so well, is like, it wasn't necessarily about like, okay, who can slap the bass the best, or who can sleep the fastest or whatever. It's like, who are people that we know that like aren't going to go off and get in trouble, are going to care about this and whatnot. So, that at the end of the day, like, I think that that's one of the reasons why we've been able to survive and been able to do it for this long, is just, putting hearts before anything else. So
You said you called you guys a meme band earlier. I think that you're like a legit band that can harness the power of memes.
Yeah, I think I think that's a good way to put it. Like I said, there's definitely a super deep side to us for sure, and
Yeah.
Something that people say all the time is like the marketing is like the marketing behind the band, like as much as it's a joke, it fucking works. So,
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, it's how people should take life. They shouldn't take it too seriously, but they should have that serious side when they need to straighten up. And, I feel like we do a pretty good job at walking that line. So.
Well, I would have to agree. And when are you going to be playing a concert on the infield at a race? It's just a matter of time. I'm sure that someone has made that joke before, but
yeah, and it's like actually like it's been talked about, like not like directly, like every once in a while, like I'll be dealing with someone like at NASCAR or whatnot, and somebody will say, "Oh, he's in a band," or like he was in a band or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, you guys should come out and play the race." And it's like, yeah, I don't think it's that kind of band, but who knows? Who knows?
I don't know. I've played shows before where a metal band had no business being, and in a certain way, it's a good time.
We've definitely played shows that like we don't fit on at all. Like we've definitely done tours that we don't fit on at all. Like we're a pretty difficult band to package with. So
that's fair.
But it like it's always kind of like just looking at it, it's pretty funny, honestly. Like I feel like awkward situations are kind of what we do best in. So
I like that. So I saw you guys in January. And I just want to say first that it was the most fun I've had at a show in years and years, including like years before COVID. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I don't know. I hadn't seen you guys live since, forever ago. And so I didn't know if you'd be rusty or what, but it was just, such an awesome time. And you guys have really great chemistry together. So I think that you have cemented yourself as like one of the faces of the band.
That means a lot, man. That means a lot. Yeah, it's something that we've really worked on. And South by So What was really, like kind of cement in that, under the fact that, like I said, our music is definitely not for everybody by any means. Like we can't pretend, but, we try to put on a show for people who are there regardless, like whether you fuck with it, whether you don't, you're there. So you might as well have a good time if you're there, try your best. So, like I said, I mean, that does mean a lot. I think that our live show is something that we didn't really take seriously for a while. Like, if you saw us in 2015, 2016, I'm sorry. But, like I said, it's also just such a release now. Like, we don't see each other all the time. And we have a lot of other stuff going on in our lives. So it means a lot when this stuff when it comes to fruition, like when we get the chance to go out and do it, it means a lot to us. So
that's awesome. So at that show, you guys opened with Reeses, which I thought was interesting because that's the closer of the album that it's on. And it's also a pretty lengthy track. Why did you decide to use that one for the opening?
We actually, this is crazy. We had this debate right before the Texas dates last month. Reese's Pieces live, it's good to get the longest one out of the way when you have the most energy, but also like I feel like it's just a song that has a lot of energy to get people off. It also kind of sets the tone for the night, because like Reese's Pieces was definitely not a like super popular song by any means. Like there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, I know Nuns," or "I know It Comes Naturally," or "Things That Rhyme with Orange." It's rare that someone's like, "Yeah, Things That Rhyme with Orange" and Reese's Pieces. Our diehard fans love Reese's Pieces, but there's a lot of people that don't know about it. So, it's really easy to kind of distinguish how the night's going to go, because you have to like, going back to the live show, you have to distinguish, like, there's ways to command the crowd and ways to work the crowd and cater to who you're playing for. So, if we go out and we play that song and there's nobody singing, there's nobody jumping, it's like, all right, like this night is going to be more about winning people over than it is about, entertaining the current clientele per se.
Okay.
When opposed to like we go out and people are loud as fuck. They sing everything in that song. We're like, all right, this is like, we can adapt this as a headliner. Like, this is really like, these are our people.
Yeah.
You know, we can come with a bit of a different, like, I can sing something and they'll sing it back, not opposed to like, you know, I sing something and then hold the mic out and there's nobody says anything. So, you know, like I said, also just like the ending of it, like the thing is like the ending gang chant.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. Like the ending gang chant, like if people don't know us, it's like, all right, look, there's something that like we can teach you in enough time that have a good time and get this energy started now during the first song before it gets fucking awkward. You're 3 songs in and nobody moved. That's probably how the night's going to go. Yeah. So, you know, we found it really helpful and you know, it's, we tried it once on mistake and we didn't have an intro. So I think it was 2016. We played a show at a high school. Super random, but played a show at a high school and my drummer's our drummer, I hate saying my drummer, that's so crazy. Our drummer forgot, I was going to say my laptop, but our drummer forgot his laptop and I needed a new laptop. So I went out and bought one, but literally like all that I had in my email was the straight backtracks. Like we had no intro. Nobody had the intro because I'd made the intro. So we had to pick the song with the longest intro that like you could walk on for. And it was Reese's Pieces and it just went over super well. So
that was a lot more thought out answer than I expected. I also wanted to give you guys props. This show was 2 months after Astroworld. And at this show, the man who was cosplaying as Jesus and wearing Heelys assumed a Christ-like pose and fell backwards off the stage to be caught. And I'm assuming he didn't. That's what it looked like from my angle. And you stopped the song that you guys were playing and checked on him. And I thought that was, I mean, common decency. You would expect that, but some bands don't do that. And even like my wife's glasses fell off and we were looking for them with the flashlights on our phones. And after the song, you asked me if we found what we were looking for. So just wanted to give you guys props for taking care of the audience and paying attention.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. You know, unfortunately, something that we've run into is there's a lot of fights at our shows and I guess it kind of comes with the territory, but you know, like we've seen a lot of people get hurt and whatnot. And we never want people to leave having a bad time or whatnot. And also the other thing is like, you know, I remember my mom used to take me to shows and stuff when I was a kid. So you always just want to make sure everybody's all right. Just because, you know, there might be people who are there like that aren't metal fans who are there for their kid or their little brother or whatnot. And it's like, you know, you just got to watch out for everybody. So
that's a good segue into just a little anecdote. I have told you before, but we brought a Catholic friend of ours, very, very cool person, very sweet. And she has never been to not only a metal show, but had never been to a rock show before. And so that was her first experience. And of course, there was a Jesus Cosplayer guy there, but she had a good time. And I figured you'd like to know that there was at least one person that at the beginning of Ravenous Rhinos said, "What the heck?"
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. It's awesome. It's awesome to see those backgrounds and like, you know, it like that stuff means a lot to us because, you know, people can see the art for what it is and separate the art from the artist. And I think that's something that's always kind of been a problem for the world is separating art from the artist. Cause like, you know, and this is something that we ran into with Texas. Sorry, I'm probably getting way too deep for some of these things, but you know, like Texas was a tough situation because we played in San Antonio the day after the school shooting happened.
Right.
You know, we definitely have some questionable content under the fact of like, we actually almost didn't play the show. We're like, yo, how can we go out and say, stop, rewind, watch them die when there's 30 kids that just got murdered down the street. So, but you know, like I said, at the end of the day, art is art for a reason. It's also a release, you know, like, you know, just because we write a song about something doesn't mean that we're going to go out and do it.
Right.
You know, so, like I said, you know, it means a lot to see people from different backgrounds. And I think that people would actually be surprised at our background. Actually, 4 out of 5 of us grew up Catholic. And all grew up pretty religious and still are somewhat religious, but we're all kind of like family people now and whatnot. Like Chris has got a kid. I'm sure there's kids in my future, sure that there's kids in Matt's future. And, it's definitely kind of weird seeing like that transition of like, wait, like we're functioning adults now and we're still doing this. But like I said, it's such a part of our lives that meant a lot to us and means a lot to a lot of people. So, seeing different backgrounds and everything come out, that means a lot to us.
Yeah. What band would be your dream get for Ismpoff to tour with? We've
gotten the chance to tour with some really, really cool bands. Hasn't always been great. Like, there's definitely been some bands that like we thought that like, I grew up loving and thought that they were going to be cool and they weren't. And then
start some beef. Talk shit.
Start some beef. All right, I'll go all out, dude. Fuck the Color Morale, dude. Fuck them.
Oh no, that's one of my favorite metalcore bands.
Fuck that band.
Oh no,
actually, no, not fuck that band. Just fuck one of them. But
dang.
But back to the main point: is it's really hard to find 5 people that stand behind the same thing and fully mean it.
Yeah.
So I should take that back. Don't fuck the Color Morale. Fuck the one person that doesn't stand for anything that band stands for. But yeah, like there's been other bands like, man, I remember when we got Kingdom of Giants, they were the opener on the Arsonists Get All the Girls tour. And we're like, yo, this band is going to fucking hate us. Like they are going to hate us. Like, we're a bunch of young, unserious kids and they're a bunch of like, like super talented, super big, like, genty, like workout guys. And like, but like, dude, day one, they were like our brothers. Like Kingdom of Giants to this day is one of my favorite bands that we've ever toured with. So, it just shows that you never know what to never know what to expect. To be honest with you, the worst band that we ever dealt with was a band that actually opened for us and was a favorite of our agent. Actually, the 2 worst bands that we've ever dealt with were First and Four on packages that we were headlining. So it comes full circle, but I would say, back to the main. Sorry, I keep on, dude. I have terrible ADHD. If you can't tell,
I think I threw like 8 questions at you that time, so it's not. That's not on you.
So I would say, we already toured with them, and they're not a band anymore. But Family Force 5 was fucking awesome to tour with. Like I love those guys. Trying to think of some other bands that dream bands. Like we knocked out so many with Warped Tour. This is gonna sound crazy, but probably Dan and Shay. Like we wouldn't fit with them at all, but like everybody in our band loves Dan and Shay besides Matt, but like we all listen to a ton of country, which is hilarious. But yeah, I would say Dan and Shay would probably be the number one removed. I would say Armor for Sleep too. I know Ben I kind of know Ben, and he seems like a cool dude, and I really, really like Armor for Sleep. Like they were definitely a huge influence on us growing up. The Starting Line, I can't remember if we toured with them, but the Starting Line was also one of my favorite bands growing up. And the Dangerous Summer, we toured with them. It's another band, fuck one member, but I actually don't think that he's in the band anymore, thankfully. And I think like literally it was such a known fact that like they were bad. But man, I don't even know if there's anybody in our genre. Like Story of the Year. I'll go with Story of the Year.
Okay.
Actually, Matt toured with Story of the Year, ironically. I wasn't in the band at the time, but I would go with Story of the Year. That's one of my favorite bands. So,
okay. What about tell me about just a super weird show that you guys played. You mentioned playing at a high school. Have you played somewhere even crazier?
Dude, we played some. We have gone through it. Super weird show that we played. So we played a shopping mall, an outdoor shopping mall in Los Angeles. Called Space 1520, and like the wrong address was posted on the flyer and the event, and like it was just us too, so it wasn't like fans had time to get there. So like we wound up playing to like 20 people and a bunch of homeless people.
Excellent.
We played on a boat in Paris.
That's pretty cool.
It's a well-known venue called Beto Far.
Okay. I've heard of bands playing in like restaurants. There's the famous Dennys story.
We've never played at Dennys.
Yet.
We've never. That's not. We're not playing when we were hungry. I'm trying to think. We've had just some really, really strange shows. Like, I mean, we played at this restaurant in Dundee, Scotland, and like it was like it was a metal show that like nobody really knew who we were, but like we didn't fit in with anybody else. But like the people didn't know the words, didn't know anything. But like halfway through the set, they just did this thing where like they all line up and they pretend to row, like where like they're literally just all line up. Like I'm sure there's videos of it online, but it was very, very strange. Very, very strange. We played a strip club before. That was really odd. We played a garage in Indiana, but that was actually really cool. Like that's another thing that I think is weird is like a lot of these places that are probably like classified as weird, like wound up actually being super cool. Like the high school show was incredible. We played a Marriott hotel lobby last month.
Okay.
All right, here's one. All right. This is all right. So we played a festival at a church in Tampa Bay, Florida, with a bunch of bands that hated us. It was super weird. It's like a hardcore show and us, and all these bands fucking hated us. But we actually brought out a ton of people. But anyway, so Connor, our bassist, had a friend that he had met on Twitch, or was there another streaming service? Not Twitch. What was it before Twitch? Discord. There was a girl who he was friends with. Like they wasn't like that, but like it was like he was friends with her, and he never met her. So he's like, yeah, come out, like have a good time, whatever. And we're like, all right, cool, no worries. So put her on the guest list, and she wound up coming incredibly intoxicated. Note that this is at a church, but like, and it's an all-day festival. It's hot, and she's drunk as hell at like 2 p.m. And so like Connor, being the good guy he was like, yo, listen, I'm gonna take you like back to your car so that you can sleep. Like, you know, like turn the air on, like make sure that you're good, make sure that you're taken care of, and don't get arrested. So he did that. She wound up falling asleep until like I think she slept through our set, and like we're loading out at 11 p.m. and I guess she found more beer or didn't sober up because she came in trash as hell and started rolling around on the ground. But she is wearing like incredibly short shorts and nothing underneath. So she's rolling around like full out, like can see everything. Like everybody can see everything. And like the owner of the church is flipping out. Like, who's this girl here with? Like all this crazy shit. Like flipping out. Like we're going to have her arrested. And she's like, I set my friends on fire's merch girl.
Oh boy.
Like, oh no, bro. But so like, we like loaded in and ran off. But like to this day, like, so we refer to that show as Cooter Fest. But yeah, that was a strange one. We've had people get arrested at our shows. We played St. Louis, and a girl, this show ended up in a hostage situation. A girl fought another girl and broke a beer bottle and literally like stabbed her in the face with this broken beer bottle.
Yikes.
And she ran out of the venue, whatever, because a bunch of people were looking for her. And she runs to the gas station and locks herself in the bathroom. She falls asleep, and then she wakes up and realizes what she does, like what she's done. Turns out this girl worked for NASA, and like she's gonna lose her job. Like it was like a huge deal. So like she decided that she was gonna hang herself in the bathroom, which didn't work, thankfully, thank God. But like it was a full out like situation where like they didn't know like if she was like suicidal or like, well, they knew that she was suicidal, but they didn't know like, does she have a match or like fuel that like she could blow up half of St. Louis? Like it was a massive big situation. But I think so none of that story is really funny, but the one part that is relatively funny is there was a girl that we were friends with that was at the bar. She had blonde hair, like super blonde hair, and the girl that stabbed this girl in the face with the beer bottle also had blonde hair. So one of the girl's friends thought that it was the girl that had stabbed her. So she's at the bar, super sweet girl, like innocent.
Yeah.
grabs her drink, and this random person pulls on her hair and punches her in the face. Like just sucker punch. She is so confused. Like it was a good sucker punch, but like it was like completely like she was convinced that was the same person. And I don't know. There's a lot of them. We could go on forever, but there's a lot of them for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like if you guys aren't making up bullshit headlines, then headlines are just finding you.
Yeah, that seems how it goes. I guess. But
okay, random question: do you have a favorite video game?
Yeah, either F1 2021 or FIFA 2022. Those are the two that I've been playing a lot of. I'm not like a big video gamer. Like I definitely play sports games. I'm not like a big like. I think that the last actual like straight video game that I played was GTA. But
okay.
I played Oblivion on the old Xbox, but that was literally like the only game that I ever got into, which I probably couldn't tell you anything about it right now.
Fair enough. Even more random question. You live in North Carolina. Do you believe in any cryptids or paranormal stuff? I know Bigfoot is big in that area. I won't be offended or make fun of you or anything, no matter what your answer is.
I'm not really a huge not really huge into that. There's some things that there's not like an explanation for that I'm like, fuck, like that's really concerning. Like I remember we were shooting a video here. I'm actually at my parents' house in New York, but we were shooting a video here and we shot, it was with two different cameras and we were just screwing around I think we were making something in the kitchen, but there's a giant flash on both cameras from one of the rooms in my house, but like there's no lights in that room. Like, and it showed up on both cameras. So like that definitely definitely was like, okay, that's odd. But yeah, I try not to dig too deep into it. Like I definitely like I'm into like the crimes and like unsolved mystery stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like cold case files and shit like that. But I have pretty bad anxiety, so like I try not to think about the paranormal stuff too much.
Okay. That's fair. Bigfoot, yes or no? You're in North Carolina. Is he out there?
Yes, he's out there somewhere.
He's out there. Excellent. Let's see. All right, I'm going to ask you one more, perhaps in-depth question, and then I'll hurry you out of here. I had you for a long time already. I'm going to re-ask the first question that I ever asked you, which is, how do you feel about Ismphoff being labeled as Nintendocore?
So I think when you first asked me that in North Carolina, I told you I hated that shit, right?
I fucking hate that shit. Yes.
I knew it. I knew it. So like I said, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this without like being offensive.
Nintendocore.
No, like it's not like that. Like I respect it. Like I know like you're like, for example, like you're super close with like James McHenry or you guys are friends. Like I love James. Like I love the community that's behind Nintendocore. But you know, I guess like the underground Nintendocore scene, like I think that shit's awesome. But like the overall, like we were always paired in with a bunch of bands that we had nothing to do with. Like, I mean, I don't really get it. Like, I guess I sort of get it because we use the same synth sample in one song. Like,
yeah.
I mean, but like, you know, people always paired us with like Blood on the Dance Floor, Millionaires, like Broken Side, like weird shit. Trying to think.
Those bands have in common MySpace, and that's most of it.
You know, a lot of people like consider them crunkcore or Nintendocore, which I feel like kind of go hand in hand. I'm trying to think of like some other Nintendocore bands, like Bubblegum Octopus. Do you know who they are?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of bands that like I wouldn't like. We've always kind of just wanted to go out and do our own thing and not really be bunched in. Like,
yeah,
not only like, especially in the music industry, like the thing is like not like there's so many cliques and so many like cool guys clubs and shit like that, and like we never fit in with that shit.
Yeah.
Like not only that, like 80% of the people in there are fucking terrible human beings. Like, dude, fucking some of the bands that we toured with, like straight up, like if there was a camera recording them 24/7, like there would be no fans left of those bands. Like, I mean, there's so many people that take this shit for granted. There's so many people that are disingenuous and you know, like, I mean, that's almost what bothers me about like the label of being grouped up in a genre more so than anything, is because like for some reason genre started reflecting people, and I feel like that's really like kind of, it shouldn't be like that. Like, you know, there's so many people, like just stereotypes, like dude, the stereotypes fit so many people. Like,
yeah,
I mean, dude, like if somebody came up to me at Warped Tour, there's probably 9 times out of 10 chance that I could tell if they played in a pop punk band or a metalcore band. Like, and probably with my eyes closed off of how they talk. Like, I mean, I just don't get I just don't get that. Like, you know, I mean, I think that that's what bothered me a lot, is like the more so that we toured with some of these bands, it's like the less that I want to be associated with some of you guys.
Yeah.
Like, seeing it at face value, there's a lot of stuff that like you can't look past per se. Like everybody has their flaws. Like nobody's perfect, but like there's a lot of like, oh yeah, homie just got mad and beat his girlfriend, but he's a good guy. It's like, yo, like I can't look past that shit.
No.
You know? Like there's so much shit like that in the music scene that gets swept under the rug, and I'm glad to see that more of it's coming to life. And like I don't believe in cancel culture, but like, you know, there is a lot of people who do not deserve the platforms that they have. And you know, like I said, like ultimately just it's not that hard to be a decent person. And you know, knowing a lot of those bands that we were grouped with and like knowing them personally and knowing that a lot of them aren't decent people, it's like, dude, I don't want our name associated anywhere near that, you know? So more so than the genre, like, yeah, I guess you know, it could be called Nintendocore. Like, I mean, we have samples that sound like that. Like literally, I think I could be wrong, but I think that the sample at the end breakdown of Nuns is literally sampled from a Game Boy. You know, I mean,
and the end of Reeses sound very the saw waves. It sounds like an old school game.
It's just that square, you know. But like I said, I mean, the genre is what it is, but it's just more so the people. Like I said, I mean, there's a reason why, like, you know, I think a lot of people would think that our band burned a lot of bridges, and we definitely have. But it's like, dude, at the end of the day, like I can sleep at night. You know? I mean, we know that we're good people, and we know that we're around good people, and you know, like I don't think that there's ever anybody that like we've tried to protect. Like we had one member like years and years ago, like when the band first resurfaced. Like, I mean, I don't even think that anybody who sees this can go and dig up. Like, I don't think this kid's name is associated with our band anywhere, but you know, like we saw through that shit real quick and like made a change. And like we're not going to go down this road. Like we're not going to be one of these bands. Like, you know, I'm not going to go out on fucking Facebook and ruin this kid's life or whatever. But you know, he's not going to be a part of this, you know? So like I said, I genuinely feel like the people that we have playing with us now, like are all good people. They all have hearts in the right place. And like, we all know each other super well. Like there's no like super secret hiding from anybody under like, oh, well, you know, so-and-so punches walls when he gets mad or something like that. You know, like I said, I mean, chemistry just goes a long way and doing this deal. And we just try to stay in our own lane and try to be our own independent people for sure.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. What's your favorite Unicorn Hole song?
Oh, dude, I'm
just fucking with you.
This is gonna fucking.
No, I'm just messing with
you, bro. I've listened to you though. I've listened to you numerous times.
Well, I appreciate it. Don't do this. We don't have to do this. I was joking.
Dude, I'm gonna look it up. Yo, you have sick fucking names of your songs though. But like, so here's the problem with like songs like this, because we used to do this too. Like.
Oh man, I'm gonna get to learn stuff.
I
said, oh man, you're gonna teach me stuff.
Dude, I would never know what song is which. Like, like now, like I think we've grown. You know what? We haven't grown out of that shit at all. The last song that we Versace Tamagotchi has nothing to do with the song.
That's like a metalcore trope, though, right? To name the song random bullshit.
Yeah, like I mean, now it's like things are, dude. Every single one of our songs has nothing to do. I can't even talk shit. I can't even give you advice because you can't give me advice.
All right, do as you say, not as you do.
Exactly.
Okay, so to wrap up the future of Ismfoff, correct me if I'm wrong, you've got a third full length in the works, more or less. That's Caterpillar Sex. That's kind of like Matt's stuff, and then a fourth LP that's also announced. That's more of the full band sound. Is that right?
Dude, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Like we have been through so much. Like, man, you're gonna get the all-time exclusive here. Like, we've dude, I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like I don't even think we've had a conversation about Caterpillar Sex in the last year. Like
Okay.
we've gone through so much with shit recent. Like we literally pretty much broke up in 2019. I think a lot of people don't know that, but like, dude, we were just so beaten out and beaten down. Like the getting new music out has been the hardest part for us. Like we were locked into a deal that we got dropped over text message, but then like we signed another deal and they're like, wait, you're not out of your deal. So like there was a bunch of shit that happened with that. Bunch of shit that happened with programming and samples and whatnot. But mainly the major thing was just like labels. Like we didn't own our music for a while. And to be honest with you, right now, I don't know who owns Caterpillar Sex because like, yeah, like
Damn.
Matt's written most of it, but like not to give them any ideas, but like if Tragic Hero wanted to come and fucking say like, yo, we own that album, or Warner wanted to come and say like, yo, we own the fourth album, like they could probably technically do that. We're going to be there's going to be new music out. Like we've talked about new music a ton. Like Matt's whole thing recently has been like, yo, like we got to go back to Rob's and like, can you get a week off here, get a week off there and go and record 3 or 4 songs with Rob? And I guess we're just kind of enjoying it for what it is right now. Like, I know that like, it's not something like we've ran away from it for so long and like, we haven't talked about it. And, but
sounds like just a lot of red tape, a lot of stuff out of your control.
So much, but like people deserve to hear the album. They deserve to hear it. Last that I knew was pretty much done. There was a lot of rewriting that went on with Caterpillar Sex, with the fourth full length. That's more of full band. I think that we're only sitting on one song right now, what we have written of it. But it's like, dude, like we got halfway through writing it and we're just like, fuck, like what's the point of like, this is a second album. We can't even release the first album. Like,
yeah.
Like what, like, you know, it's just super, super, super tough for everybody. And like, you know, when that stuff happens, is like, you know, there's definitely the end of the Europe tour in 2018. Like we were all sick of each other. And I don't think any of us were liking who we were essentially becoming because of the situation. And like I said, like we've always kind of taken being people over being musicians. So, you know, I think that we all went back home or like, look, like we all got to change, you know, like this is not, there's shit that like we always said that like this wasn't going to affect us and it's starting to affect us. So, but yeah, like, I mean, like we're on a clean slate right now. Like everybody's loving it. Everybody's just taking it as it comes and super happy about everything that's going on and super happy about this resurgence. But like, we know that there's a bridge to cross with new music, but you know, I think that we're going to enjoy this for a little bit longer before that conversation becomes real. But yeah, you know, like I said, Caterpillar Sex will come out someday. The fourth LP, like there will be a fourth LP. I can't tell you when or like how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. But like I said, I mean, there's so much that went into it and so much that like, you know, and the thing that I do appreciate, I think a lot of fans do understand, like they've seen shit from behind the scenes and they've seen that stuff has not been as easy as it looks. And, you know, especially now, like we don't do this for a living anymore. We don't do this full time. And we all have separate jobs in our own lives and live in different cities and all of that. So when time allows it to happen, we'll cross that bridge. But I think that the way that I view it is like you can ignore a hang now for 3/4 of the day, but eventually you're gonna have to take care of it. That's an awful analogy, but like
I get your point.
You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. People will see it someday for sure.
Well, hopefully I speak on behalf of the majority of the fan base at least and say we will wait eagerly and patiently for both albums.
I appreciate you, man.
So, okay, before I let you go, is there anything, I just open the floor to you if there's anything you want to promote or say?
Yeah, y'all should check out this band called Unicorn Hole. They're pretty sick. Sound like we butter the bread with butter.
I'll take it.
That's what you sound closest to, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I definitely really appreciate this interview. There was a lot of cool questions asked, like a lot of cool, deeper stuff talked about than your typical, like, oh, what happened to Nabil and whatnot. So I appreciate it. And, we appreciate everybody who supported us. And if you made it this far in the interview, like, that's fucking sick. Shout out, love. But, yeah, man, like I said, much love and really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much for doing this.
Of course, John. We'll talk soon, buddy.
Talk to you soon.
Peace, man.
Thanks a bazillion for watching. Support I Set My Friends on Fire by following their socials and buying merch and stuff. Links in the description. On this YouTube channel, you can find a video called What Counts as Nintendocore, where I analyze a few bands, including Ismfoff. Check that out, you'll probably dig it. Also, if you like Ismfoff's music, maybe check out my project Unicorn Hole, which is in part inspired by them. I just dropped a new album called Something Fierce, but if that's a little too heavy for you, you might prefer HD Remakes Round 3 from last year. All of my music can be found here on this channel or anywhere else where music is. Finally, please like and subscribe. I am baby YouTuber and I need help to grow. Who else would you like to see go down the unicorn hole? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks again, you're the best. Bye.